Yo, people, welcome back to another stream. As you can see, it's Game Week 4 review and Game Week 5 preview. As the games are on Tuesday, the midweek games, and tomorrow I need to study for accounts and I have to preview the championship stuff. So I was like, let me, because everyone is basically doing the Premier League stuff tomorrow, let me be different and do it today. So yeah, I got Mr. All Reliable Money in the house. Big up Money. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. Had a pretty busy weekend, obviously with the games coming in, and today as well was no different. But it's good to get things through. And how have you been? How's your weekend been?
It's been good. It's been good. Chelsea won. Started quite hard, so hopefully it pays off. I think it will. And next I have Joel. He has been on a watch along one side. Yep, Joel. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm good.
Fair enough. And I got the a debutant on the channel. If you don't know him, then I don't know what you're doing. Okay, Daniel.
Oh,
Yep,
hey
Daniel.
everyone, how you doing?
I'm good. And yeah, so all three of you support Arsenal. So I think so. It's I have an Arsenal panel, people, and if you want to join, I can have two more people backstage. So want to join? DM me on Instagram or Twitter. You guys can just DM me. Uh, so yeah, but Chris is big up the panel, big up Chris. Yes. So how's the game? How's the weekend's games been for you guys? You enjoy the weekend's games? And I will start with
Yeah,
you.
it was a very good game. Arsenal won, although it was hard work, and Liverpool did. It was like a training session for Liverpool that they just did what they felt like, and Tottenham deserved their win, and Manchester United are getting back to where they want to be. They're slowing up there, and West Ham have got their first win of the season, so it's been a good game week, and we'll see what happens. And Champions League, Europa League, and Conference League draws are done, and there's some really good groups.
Yeah, Manny, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm happy with the Arsenal win. I mean, it was rather lucky. Let's not forget that. But then, having said that, they say that people make their own luck, and 4 wins in a row. Still top, but we definitely won't be top for very long if we continue to make mistakes. And I think we were lucky in many ways that many of those mistakes didn't really get punished, and we've had a somewhat easy run in those 4 games, and that could continue with a visit to Aston Villa, who look very short on confidence, and that proved as they lost at home to West Ham today, despite having once again the lion's share of the possession. So Steven Gerrard is in a huge pickle, and he needs to get a win. But with his next matches being against top of the table Arsenal and second of the table Manchester City, he is quite literally up a gum tree. And as for the other games, it was good to see. I didn't see obviously Liverpool. I saw a little bit of Liverpool's game against Bournemouth, their first few goals in the first 2 goals in the first few minutes before having to perform a few errands. And the Southampton Manchester United game was definitely an interesting one. I was happy to do the watch along for that on your channel, Hannah. That was good fun. We enjoyed it, Ollie and I. Everton certainly looked to be gaining some strength, and I think the arrival of Neil Maupay will help them because they've needed a centre forward for quite some time now. Chelsea, as predicted, they won 2-1. Leicester in all sorts of trouble. They're still fighting, but they seriously are a team in decline at the moment. And once again, City are proving why they're defending champions. Coming back from a deficit to win 4-2 is looking very ominous. So we might be top of the league, but we've got City, Tottenham, and even Brighton, who won against Leeds, snapping at our heels. So we are in no position to celebrate by any means.
Yeah, Joe, your thoughts on the weekend games?
Good weekend. I think most teams, obviously City won, Liverpool won, Chelsea, Tottenham, and United all won. Any shocks there, but obviously 9-0 Liverpool. Well, the first win of the season, obviously they're looking good again. That's really getting back near the top. We're gonna have to lose a good few games soon, but good right now. But yesterday we didn't, which is all that matters. So, good weekend.
Yeah, true. And yeah, for me, Chelsea won, Man United won. Fortunately, they couldn't get that second goal I predicted. Yeah, Palace, they fumbled the bag, and yeah, the ref, I the opposite here a bit, but yeah. So that that's the weekend games. It was definitely some interesting games. We'll get onto them, but yeah. So I know. Uh, let me just go to. Uh, yeah, before we continue, make sure to like this video and subscribe if you are new. Road to 200 in full swing. Yeah. Okay, be up Chelsea fans. Uh, I hope you're all doing good today. Yeah, I think everyone's doing good on this panel. And yeah, so let's get started. Of course, the first game of this weekend game was Manchester United versus versus Southampton. Of course, they won 1-0. I say 2-0. I thought United might get that second goal. They didn't. Bruno finally turning up. Looks like showing the bit of class. Yeah. So yeah, for me, it was a good game. All right. Yeah. I think.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I mean, I did the watch along, and United's recovery is continuing. They had an unchanged team that day, while I think Southampton made one change, bringing Che Adams into the side. And Adams certainly looked to be causing a lot of problems, but in the end, it was a case of United's quality shining through, especially in terms of their midfield. They started with Eriksen and Scott McTominay playing in that two just in front of the back four, and then of course you had the semi-front three of I think Sancho, Fernandes, and Anthony Elanga behind Marcus Rashford. Southampton also had a 4-2-3-1, and that seems to be the formation in vogue these days, which is rather surprising. But yeah, for me, it was a question of both teams being able to make a few decent attacks, a few runs into the penalty area, a few chances being created either side. United started well, and Southampton got back at them near the end of the first half. But I just thought that United shaded that first half in a way, and in the second half, it was a case of both teams also trying to get at each other. But then that goal from Fernandes started to settle things, and it was a bit disappointing that they couldn't get their second goal. But I think after the chastening nature of that defeat to Brentford, they just wanted to make sure that they could get the win by any means necessary, and then they could sort of pick it from there. I wouldn't necessarily go so far to say that Ten Hag has his best 11, but if he can field that unchanged team and then possibly bring on some subs near the end, that would be good. Although with Casemiro coming in, you would think that he and Eriksen would be the first choice midfield partnership in front of the back four from here on in, which means that McTominay and Fred will struggle for games. And of course, the changes he made into the defence now mean that Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw won't get too much in terms of game time. That could possibly hamper their chances of being in England's World Cup squad, but so be it. I'm sure Ten Hag will let them play in the EFL Cup and the Europa League. And especially with the Europa League draw, I remember being a part of a stream where we were talking about Arsenal's chances. We might come to that a little bit later on, as with Manchester United. But United still look to be on the recovery. It's a slow recovery, a somewhat painful recovery. It might be in fits and starts, but as long as they can get some wins and points under their belt, they will come back to challenging. And we have to play them at Old Trafford. So with Casemiro in their lineup and their team looking a lot more settled, it won't be easy, let me tell you that.
Yeah, definitely won't be easy. But I'm going to Joel. Your thoughts on the United game?
Well, obviously, they got 3 points, all that matters. He looked better. He looked better. Again, obviously, he looked a lot better in the first two games. Coming in for McTominay looked a lot better. I think they'll still get. I still think they'll get top 6. It was only a joke saying they were going to get relegated. So, yeah, they're starting to look better as Anthony coming in as well. Announced like a few minutes
Definitely.
ago. So obviously he's coming, and I'm not too sure, but yeah, Anthony will come in, and he'll which is a big upgrade. So
Yeah.
it's whether the ground running straight away, or whether it takes a one like that, but I have to see.
Yeah, definitely. Daniel, your thoughts on the United game versus Southampton?
I think stronger. I feel like they found their. I think they're starting to set with. I don't feel like Ronaldo. I think the Ronaldo situation has been quiet. We'll see what happens with him. But it's a good win for Manchester United. I think they'll win their next few games. I think they're playing Leicester City away, and then after they're playing Arsenal. So if they beat Leicester City and Arsenal beat Aston Villa, then both teams are going to be. It's going to be a very tight game between the two, and we don't really do well at Old Trafford, so our record is quite bad. So let's see what happens at Old Trafford. With or without Ronaldo, it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a good game. But yeah, I said my thoughts. But do you guys think Anthony will be a success at United, or will he be a flop like Ziyech at Chelsea? Personally, I think if he doesn't get game time like Sancho got under Oli and Rangnick, I think he will flop personally. If he doesn't get the game time going now. If he doesn't get the game time, I think he will automatically flop because he needs to be integrated into the Prem and everything. So he needs game time. Yeah. But Money, your thoughts? I think you're muted.
Yeah. So your question was about Ronaldo?
No, but Anthony, will he be a success?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, he is, of course, proven in the Dutch league, but, so is Ten Hag for that matter. It'll remain to be seen. And as you probably said, he might possibly find it hard to earn a spot in the team at the moment, although maybe he could replace someone like Elanga or Sancho and add maybe a little bit of dynamism, if you will. I would like to see him get blooded maybe in a few cup games to see where he stands, and then maybe he can sort of come into the league. And I'm not too sure I'm really happy with this idea of buying some signings and blooding them in right away, because we saw what happened with Martinez. yes, he has recovered, but there will still be some question marks as to whether or not he can really take the heat when it comes up against really big, muscular midfielders and attackers. So we'll have to see about that. But like I said, I don't know if Anthony will come in right away if he signs, and that's still not confirmed, but he should get some game time. There's only been 4 games played by all teams this season in the Premiership, and there will be a lot more to come. So we can count on a few more players to get the minutes they need, and I think Anthony will get his minutes. Will he get into the 11 for the Premiership? We'll see. If he gets his chance in the Cup and does quite well, he should be in Ten Hag's plans going forward.
Yeah, definitely should be. But you get in the comments, do you think Anthony will be a success or will he flop? But Joel, your thoughts
I think
on Anthony? Will he flop?
Yeah, I think million. I think you're basically you have to be really good around. If you're 100 million, you're gonna have to be one of the best. You're flopped, but he'll go straight into the Man United team straight away. More of a chance of being a success. I remember he bought him already. So I think, and he didn't get. So I think they're decent. I don't think he'll be 100 million worth.
Yeah, fair enough. Daniel, will he flop or will he be a success?
I think he might. I don't think that the move's going to work out because he's way too overpriced. He's a good player, but I don't think he's worth the money that Ajax are putting out to be. So I think he'll have a lot of pressure, and I don't think it'll work out. I think with Harry Maguire, he was never worth 80 million, and with that pressure, it didn't work out for him. So I don't think it's going to work for Anthony either. I just feel like Ten Hag won't play him a lot, and it just won't work out in my opinion. But we'll see what happens.
Fair enough. But before we move on, yeah, people just saw we 855 subscribers. Big up, bro, to 200. And only 45 away. Yeah, we will do this. We will do it. So yeah, but the next game was, of course, the 3 p.m. kickoffs. We did watch along to that. Of course, Chelsea 1-2-1. Liverpool 1-9-0. City came from 2-0 down to win 4-2. Brighton, they beat Leeds 1-0, which I wanted to happen. And what was the others? And of course, Brentford and Everton drew 1-1. Joe, try taking out the airports. Try taking out the airport and maybe see if that works.
What's wrong with it?
Yeah. Now you keep breaking up. So I don't know if it's maybe the earphones or what. Good.
Obviously, work or like disconnect.
Oh yeah. So that I think we need to start off with the City game. So Manchester City, of course, won 4-2. Came from 2-0 down. I know Ulrich was loving it on the stream. He couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. JPT was also on. They couldn't believe it. A 2-0 going to halftime. It was still 2-0, but then Ireland strike. So yeah. I wonder if Anthony will struggle to adapt to the Premier League at first. Yeah, maybe. definitely going to be interesting. It's definitely not worth what they're spending. Yeah, definitely, definitely. I think everyone can agree on that. So yeah, uh, Holland is world class, is just been. Yeah, he did good. Uh, your thoughts on the? I know you guys didn't quite catch it. Um, the game because you couldn't watch it, or maybe you watched it. But yeah, you guys' thoughts on that game 4-2 Manchester City. Daniel, I'll start with you this time.
Yeah, Manchester City had a very slow start against Crystal Palace. They were 2-0 down inside 20 minutes, 25 minutes, I think. But then Manchester City didn't capitulate, and they didn't just sit back. They just kept wins coming on, and Holland and they're demonstrating why they're Premier League champions and why they're such a good team. And also Holland has had his hat trick, and I feel like Holland is settling well into his team and adapting based on his hat trick, and I think he'll win the Golden Boot this season, and Manchester City in the Champions League do have a good chance if they just stick into it and Haaland keeps banging in the goals and doing what he's doing. So Manchester City are looking strong as always.
Yeah. Joel, your thoughts on that game?
I think I didn't see them live because they're not on TV over here. But I saw the results coming through. Obviously, 2-0. How many was that? 20, 30 minutes. Especially when it was like still the 60th minute. But obviously they came back. But yeah, obviously in the league game quite comfortably. Obviously they drew to Newcastle or win. They'll come to quite like 10, maybe 10 points. I think. But yeah, I don't really know too much about any of them.
Fair enough. Manny, did you watch a bit of it?
No, I didn't. I'm afraid. I'm just actually, you know, I'm actually reading the BBC Sport account of it, and once again, we just see further proof of why Pep Guardiola is such a good manager and why Manchester City are the defending champions to come back from 2-0 down to win 4-2. When you are able to replace Gabriel Jesus with Erling Haaland, you go up a level. It's as simple as that. And he has now taken to the Premiership like a duck to water. And he certainly should be in the running for the Golden Boot award. He could end up winning it. I think people like him are just built for the Premiership because he's got the height, he's got the power, he's able to move in and out. He is that perfect number 9, that centre forward that people would, for which people would be willing to give an arm and a leg. And he certainly has the measure of his opponents, and he knows how to get into the game very well. We saw that against West Ham. We saw that against Newcastle. Now we're seeing it again. We're seeing it against Crystal Palace. I mean, we haven't seen it, but when we take a look at the highlights, we can see the goals and how he's able to get into those positions and make himself seen. So make the most of it. So yeah, Crystal Palace always a very well drilled side, but when they're coming up against a champion team like Manchester City, any team will struggle to contain them right now. And I think, they're doing their best to level up. The Champions League will still be in every way a crapshoot, so let's not get carried away and say that they will have a chance. It's been their Achilles heel for years now, ever since Guardiola came in. And of course, that final appearance against Chelsea was really as good as it got for them. But, there'll be a team to watch in the Champions League. But as far as the Premiership is concerned, I think they look like they could be running away with it. But again, it's always a marathon, not a sprint. And if you run too fast in the beginning, you could tire out in the end. They do have some good bench strength. And it's also interesting to see, if you take a look at the lineup, Calvin Phillips hasn't had a game. and I don't know if he's injured or not, but he wasn't even on the bench. So there might be some rotation going on, and I hope he will get some games from an England perspective. But City do look good. They've got bench strength as well, something that Arsenal currently don't have. So we really have to see if we can get a few more players before the deadline and try and bridge that gap. But it's looking very good now for City, and we have to watch our backs.
Yeah. He, he says, why do you think Jesus was never given a chance at City and played in his proper position? Because his quality play looks a lot happier at Arsenal. So I'll start off. I think it's just Pep didn't fancy him. And I think he, I don't think he likes Pep's system. I think Pep, we all know he likes to rotate, and I think a player like Jesus needs consistency over a period of games, and he needs the right system. And I don't think the way, especially, I think Pep was like, he doesn't think Jesus is a striker. I think he had that mentality and that affected Jesus like playing quality because you uh, look now he's a striker. He's playing week in week out, so he has. I'm sorry, he's showing his quality. I think in the system City played false line because for me Pep didn't think he was a striker, so they struggled. And you look in the first few games, I know they have won every game, but they're not so used to always looking for that man that's always going to be in the box. And I think their playing style didn't help Jesus. That's my personal opinion. Right, Daniel, your thoughts
Yeah.
on this question? Why do you think Jesus
Um,
was given a
I
chance?
think it's because Jesus. I think Pep didn't fancy his playing attributes, and I don't think he fit into what Pep wanted. So I feel like Pep. I feel like Man City were doing better without a striker. I'm not sure. I just didn't think. I just felt like Jesus didn't get the chance he deserved.
Okay.
I think OS is asking
Uh, yeah. Joe, if you address that, okay, different choose.
for them.
Okay. So, Joe and Manny. Joe and Manny, will you guys? I quickly need to go on to Richard's room. He wants me quickly go on there. Yeah. Will you guys take over?
Yeah, sure, we'll do that. We'll do that. That's
So,
perfect.
all the YouTube comments will come there, then you guys can just read them out. But you can discuss
Yeah, okay.
this question and then go through all the games, and then I will be back.
Yeah, that's cool. That's brilliant. All right. So, yeah, we'll hold the fort until you get back. All right, Bert?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so let me now jump in. I think what Hannah said with regard to your question, Ryan, is sort of spot on because certainly the type of attributes that Jesus has. I'll come to that in a minute, Chelsea fan. Certainly the type of attributes that Jesus has as a striker. The only way he could possibly have been, in the team more consistently is if we were able to emulate the numbers of Sergio Aguero, who probably was close to Jesus in terms of physicality and strength, or whatever what have you. It is quite perhaps fair to say, though, that if you get some opportunities, you've also got to try and make the most of them. And the fact is that he just wasn't really I mean, I wouldn't go so far to say he wasn't playing in his proper position, because he's one of those players that obviously could play in other positions. He could play either as a centre forward or on the wing. And I think he was probably experimented a little too much maybe on the wing, but also when he did get some chances, he probably didn't take as much advantage of them. And it's also difficult when you've got an array of strikers, you've got that competition there with a lot of other strikers. It's always going to be quite difficult. You've got to be better than you were yesterday. You're always under pressure to make sure that you make the most of your chances. So he wasn't very prolific in the league. He did have a good Champions League record though. I mean, he would score about, I think, 4 or 5 goals a season. He has about 20 Champions League goals for Manchester City. But even for the Brazilian national team, the Seleção, as they say, he wasn't really pulling up trees over there. So I think it was a case of him, probably not able to take whatever chances he could get, not feeling confident in himself that he could score whenever he needed to. Now, of course, he is the main man. He will be getting more games, but we have to make sure that he obviously wants some game time for the World Cup, and I think he will take advantage of that. But he also has to make sure that he stays injury free. And if he can do that, then it could be a profitable move. But today as well, he found out how difficult it would be when it came to performing. When it came to not being able to score goals. You also have to try to make sure you're involved in the play a lot more and be able to do some good link-ups. So it was a good fit for Arsenal, let me tell you that. Maybe he has his medals from City. And Ryan, let me see if I can't send you the link for this. How do I send it to you? I have no idea. Yeah, just hold on a minute. Yeah. We could always put it on the main chat window and see if we can't do that, but I'll try and get you on there, Ryan. So hopefully that answers your question, and as your backup question, he might not have been appreciated at City. Well, he has his medals from his time at City, and the fans will remember him quite well, but football is a ruthless business. Teams and people move on. They've obviously gotten Holland as a replacement. Jesus has come to Arsenal. Everyone's happy. So, there's no room for sentiment. As an Arsenal fan, there are more than a few players we would have liked to have kept, and I'm sure Joel can agree with me. But, that it is really what it is, and you can't really do too much about that. And now we'll go to Chelsea fans' talk about Ziyech, who might be going to Ajax. Joel, why don't you talk about
that? Move, because obviously he used to be at Ajax, he went to Chelsea, and he was brilliant. That was the Champions League semi-final. He was a crucial, the perfect move for him, really. I don't think he suits Prem football. Chelsea, I think he's good. If he used to go back to I reckon he would get his career back going again. But that's if you're not 100% sure. If he did, that would be a good move for him.
Well, maybe it would be a good move for him. There's no denying his talent, and in addition, when you take a look at his own levels of controversy with regard to Morocco, how he retired from the national team but could possibly be brought back to the team following the departure of their coach. This could be a good move for him if he's not going to be back in the picture at Chelsea. I agree with you there, and it's rather sad because we see the likes of Bergwijn and a few others come to the Premiership, and in the hope that they could do well. Bergwijn, of course, was with Tottenham, and he ended up going back to Ajax himself. So it's rather sad that he couldn't quite make the grade. But sometimes you have to do what you have to do, and if Ziyech decides to return to Ajax, that would be good. Now, Ryan, I sent you the link on your Instagram, so if you can check that and see if you can join in, that would be terrific, yeah? Beautiful. So yeah, and that would be a good segue into talking about the Chelsea-Leicester City game, I think, because obviously I don't know if Ziyech was even on the bench for that game. I'll check the lineups. Oops, my bad. Yeah, he was on the bench, but he wasn't even brought on. And I predicted a 2-1 win. I actually thought that Sterling would score twice. So Chelsea are also recovering quite well, although it must be said that Leicester are in decline. And a lot of talk has been about the possibility of Brendan Rodgers not lasting in the job. Certainly, what seems to happen is that they haven't been able to sign any players, and the chemistry doesn't seem to be right with the team. They've let Kasper Schmeichel go. He was obviously important as a leader and a unifier. I think it's fair to say that Johnny Evans has struggled in the role as captain, and Danny Ward hasn't been able to fill his shoes in goal. And the Fofana issue has obviously, hurt the team's in ways. They decided to let him go because they were keeping a player on, but Rodgers has been getting a lot of stick. And the sad part is that Leicester have certainly played well in spells in all 4 games, but they just haven't been able to take advantage of the chances they could get. But Joel, before we go to Chelsea, what do you think of Leicester? Do you think that Rodgers might be sacked, or do you think that he deserves more time, and do you have hope that they will recover?
More time. I think they should give him till Premier League breaks up for the World Cup. And if he's still doing awful, like 15th, 16th, I think he's got to go. I feel like their squad's good top half or mid-table. And they could be considered like contenders to be relegated. They're losing. If they've lost, and if they lose Madison as well, it's probably leaving. So yeah, it doesn't look good there right now. And obviously they have those players. They've gotten worse. It's not looking good for them right now. But I'd keep Rodgers for a bit more, maybe a few more months. See if he can get good results. If he carries on, most likely.
Right. So if we take a look at Leicester's upcoming fixtures, this isn't going to be easy for them because they've got Manchester United, a resurgent Manchester United, coming up next week, and then of course they have to travel to the Amex Stadium to take on the Seagulls. So that's also not going to be very easy. How do we access the backstage? I think Hanno might be doing all of that. I don't know. Yeah, hopefully, Ryan, if you're backstage, hopefully Hanno will add you in, and there you are, mate. Good to see you. Oh, yeah, that's good. And good to see Hanno back. So, Ryan, thanks a lot for joining in. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm okay, thank you.
Yeah, so I've just subscribed to you recently, and sadly, I don't know if I'm able to follow Huddersfield because where I am, I'm not able to watch coverage of the Championship, but I am following you as closely as I can. Disappointing start to the season so far, but I'm sure you will recover, and I mean, you can still obviously make the playoffs, hopefully. There is that chance, so don't lose hope, yeah?
We'll start for us, and yeah, I'm not as optimistic as maybe you just said. That we're scoring goals, but we're just conceding too many goals for fun, and that's the problem. And we have been linked with a few shots next week. Hopefully we can get them through the door, but yeah, it's going at the moment, but we can only hope it improves. But we just have to wait and see.
Okay, that's good. All right, so now, but have you been watching any of the Premiership games? Because we're talking about the Premiership review. We just spoken about Leicester, and I think Chelsea fans just come into the chat by saying, got a bit lucky, but a win is a win. We'll take it. I think lucky wins seem to be the flavour of this week. So yeah, of course. I mean, if you can win luckily or win ugly, I guess it's not so bad. So what are your opinions of Chelsea? I think they might be recovering a little bit, maybe getting into their stride. Obviously, losing Kante to injury will be a problem. The sending off of Gallagher has not helped. The sending off Koulibaly against Leeds did not help. So their squad will also be stretched in many ways. So they're currently 6th right now, and they could still recover and continue to get some points, but their squad will be tested in many ways. So I don't know if either of you two think that Chelsea need to reinforce, or do they have enough in their squad to see them through until the suspensions and injuries sort of end.
No, I say the problem with Chelsea for me is that they need to get a striker. Now I know that obviously Sterling's been playing up top, but to be honest with you, so having him in that position, I'm not saying he can't play because obviously he get the 2 goals yesterday, but I just think they need to get a striker in. They look a bit. I mean, maybe centre back. I mean, Town at point, but I don't know. The midfield looks a bit short. Anthony's obviously gone out, obviously injured now. I think I do like Gallagher. They're showing a bit of discipline in their side at the moment. They seem to be getting to, obviously, Koulibaly getting sent off. So, yeah, and like I said, Loftus Cheeks, but I think they need someone better than him, really, in my opinion. I think they do need a few reinforcements. But it was a good win, obviously, yesterday. Again, I'm really, really struggling, let's be honest, at the moment.
Yeah, they do look as though they're struggling, but if they could keep pulling off some wins, it can really maybe that can sort of help them out a little bit. And of course, their upcoming fixture next week on Tuesday, I believe, will be at Southampton, who also lost to Manchester United. That's not going to be an easy game, but I would back Chelsea to win. And they're also coming up against West Ham, who won today, but who are still trying to struggle to gel. So those are 2 games I could see them doing fairly well in. And then, of course, they have their group stage of the Champions League. The first game will be on the 6th of September, so they could recover. Joel, what do you think about Chelsea? Any reinforcements, or do you think they would be okay? Oh, yeah, Chelsea fans coming. We need a DM and a forward. Joel, go ahead.
Right. I think 100% need a striker. I think that should be Premier or whether it's someone else. They've got to get a striker. I don't think they have. They don't really have a proper got Sterling for goals, but he's a winger. I think right now they're playing Havertz up front, striker, and he's not going to get you goals. So I think they definitely need 15 to 20 goals. And then, they also need him. I reckon they should get rid of Gallagher. I think he suits their system. So I probably would bring in another DM, like he said. And yeah, they just got Fafana, so I think they're fine with centre backs. Now, obviously, got Fafana and they're keeping Shadow and striker, in my opinion.
Right. Okay. Well, I think, do you have to go right now? If you have to go, you can just maybe shout out your socials and your YouTube, and I'll let you leave, yeah?
Yeah, I have to go. But, you can follow me on joel.d07 on Instagram. And I think that's all.
Okay, so no YouTube channel of your own?
No, I don't have it. I'll see you in the next stream.
All right then. Cheers. Take care of yourself, yeah?
Bye.
Okay. Yeah, so we've had to say goodbye to Joel, and now it's just you and me. And so I think we agree that Chelsea will need a few reinforcements, a new forward certainly. And so with Ziyech potentially going back to Ajax, well, it looks as though they're getting rid of someone who was probably a little bit ineffective. They still have Pulisic. The only problem is he's also quite injury prone. His hamstrings are not his best friend. Let me tell you that right now. So if we're going through our review, I think we already discussed Southampton and Manchester United, and now we've got Chelsea and Leicester out of the way. And also City and Palace. Liverpool and Bournemouth is definitely a game which we really have to talk about. again, I don't know if you saw that match. I saw the first 5 minutes of it, the first 6 minutes actually. That was when Diaz and Elliott scored. And I just knew that this Bournemouth team, toothless as they were, quite frankly, that we beat them 3-0 at the Vitality Stadium, but to go to Anfield and get hammered 9-0, it was a low for them. And I think Scott Parker nailed it when he said that they will definitely need some reinforcements. So not much to say about them. But certainly Liverpool look to have come into their stride as well after a difficult start to the season where they had those 2 draws and that loss at Old Trafford. But it's interesting as well to see, Ryan, that a lot of these teams have difficult starts, but then they find their way back, and then it can really only be forward from there. I remember in your stream telling me, segueing back to Huddersfield, that you boys probably felt you needed a new backup goalkeeper for Lee Nichols and maybe 1 or 2 other people. But hopefully this match will give you some confidence that if you get the right players before the deadline, you can still kick on from there. So anything can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, to be honest, though, with Liverpool, though, I've not been impressed. I don't think you can judge them against this Bournemouth side. I know they got 9 goals, and that is very impressive. I haven't been impressed with Liverpool so far. It's tough test to come for sure. Obviously, Bournemouth aren't gonna, all line as humiliating as it was for Bournemouth. These aren't this won't define where they'll be. Basically, will it come at the end of the season? They have to be focusing on, obviously, teams that are around them. They really do need to be winning games at home as well if they can. But maybe this will really kickstart them, this win, regardless of who it was against. I really like Harvey. I think Harvey is a real talent about you, but you can see how much that. But yeah, it's good that the youngsters are getting a chance as well. But yeah, not really much to say really about that. But Bournemouth will have to regroup. I do think Bournemouth will stay up, by the way. I think Bournemouth. I just don't know why I think that, but I just feel like they will. But yeah.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I mean, you take a look at the Bournemouth team, for instance. Obviously, they might have had to make a few changes into the team. I was expecting that, in fact, they would. There was actually a last-minute change because Jaden Anthony was. They had Anthony, and I actually thought that Anthony would be sort of playing alongside Kiefer Moore as part of the front two, but apparently Moore was on his own. And they've also switched from a back 5, which is good to see. But obviously, the nature of Liverpool's attack meant that they had to make some halftime changes, and that meant Dominic Solanke coming back for an appearance against his former club. But a lot of talk about Liverpool was about, with the departure of Sadio Mane, that front 3 of Salah, Diogo Jota, and Mane, how they were so effective because they maintained that tight, that sort of straight line with one another and were able to sort of feed off one another. And the challenge would obviously be for Salah and Diaz and whoever else came in. I think it was Firmino who was there. So as a part of that front 3, how would they maintain that line? And so they were able to sort of maintain that line from the looks of it. Yes, Salah didn't score, but sometimes you can't really judge the contribution of someone simply because they don't score. And it was good to see Klopp making some proactive changes. That meant not giving Milner any minutes because he looked out of it against United, it has to be said. And, Van Dijk obviously also had a shock against United, but he was retained. I really still don't see the wisdom, in my opinion, of retaining Trent Alexander-Arnold as a right back, because as great as he is going forward, Ryan, he really can get caught out in defence quite easily. So I wonder if there's a method to Klopp's madness here. I mean, does he see some sort of an interchange of positions between himself and Elliott or Henderson or anyone else? I mean, what's the story with that? What do you think is going on?
Yeah, I think the first point you made about Mane, I think it was a big mistake. I think that now he's not there anymore, you can really see the different three, because he made a massive contribution, obviously, and he's a quality player, and to see that obviously they let him go so easily. I don't know what happened there. They are missing somebody like that in the team. You can see it. Obviously, he's a good player, but I just think he's not what Man near. What Salah down the middle, by the way, as well. I don't like him on the. I just think Salah as the main striker. But that's just my opinion. But Trent. Yeah, I mean, Trent is struggling, isn't he? Defensively, he's in a position where he needs to make sure he's defending a lot better than he is. Being able to attack, and he's very good at that. We know that, but I just can't seem to defend. However, I don't think you can just blame him for the woes that Liverpool faced over the last few weeks. I think that Van Dijk had a poor start to the season. It really has, and he shouldn't be any criticism anyway. By the way, because I think he's lazy at times with defending, and I don't think he's as good as maybe people claim him. But I'm not really a huge admirer of Van Dijk, man. Joe Gomez alongside. I mean, I'm not saying he's not good, Joe Gomez. Quite good enough for Liverpool. And obviously, Hudson's a quality player. We know what he's produced over the years, and his journey's been on.
Yeah.
I've gone off on Manny, but I don't really know if Trent should maybe play further forward, and then maybe to do that position he's currently playing in. Because, like I say, he's more of an attack, really.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe there's a method to that, and you talk about Gomez not being able to quite make the grade. You don't think he's probably that good enough, but I think Klopp might need to make some reinforcements. If not now, then definitely in January, and then we'll see how that team goes. But I get what you're saying as well when you say you can't really judge Liverpool's recovery based on the 9-0 spanking of the toothless Bournemouth team. And they overachieved against Aston Villa, and they are still up there, but their goal difference really is not doing them any favours. It will take a long time for them to recover from this particular setback. I know that Southampton were able to somewhat recover from their own 9-0, but it will take time. So that's sort of the way it is. We also talked about the Arsenal-Fulham game somewhat earlier. I don't know if we did, but we can get back to that. But we'll talk about Brentford and Everton, because those are two teams as well. I know that as a Huddersfield fan, you've seen Brentford play quite often in the Championship before they got promoted. And, you'll probably know a little bit about how they were able to play and they were able to sort of develop. And it's like ever since that win over Manchester United, they haven't really gotten the results that they believed they would have liked. But they're certainly looking like a pretty tough team. And obviously Everton have shown that they've got some fight in them. And so I actually fancy Everton will stay up. And the signing of Maupay could help them. But if you've seen quite a bit of Neil Maupay and you've seen how well he can play, what do you think he will lend to the Everton team? And do you think it'll be a good signing for them?
Yeah, I think it will definitely be a good signing for them. They are lacking goals. They are struggling to score goals. We all know this. And they haven't currently got a fit striker at the club technically at the moment. I know obviously Gordon's a striker. I think Gordon's obviously one of the front attacking three, but he's an striker that you need in the team. Obviously they did play Dwight in the middle against Brentford, of course. So yeah, I think that most side I really do, because he's a goal scorer. But there's always that character like Maupay. Obviously, he has had his issues with and it's it's a gamble to bring him in, but I think because I do fancy him to get some goals in this team. I do, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he gets on for sure. But go, obviously Brighton letting him go. Obviously, I think a lot of Brighton fans were quite happy to see the back of him really because he wasn't really contributing much to the team, couldn't really get in the team either. So yeah, good move for Everton. They do need players in a few more than just Maupay, by the way, because Everton, I don't think they're fighting really at the moment because I just think they got very lucky last season, and they're expecting to improve somehow, unfortunately. But yeah, we'll see how Maupay gets on. There's no doubt, but he's a goal scorer, isn't he? I do like him.
Yeah, and just taking a look at the Everton team's formation, they were 3-4-3, or it could have been considered a farm. It could be played any way. Yeah, it was a 3-4-3. And certainly with Connor Cody coming in from Wolves, I'll have no idea why they let Connor Cody go, because he, along with Tarkowski from Burnley, have lent some decent solidity, and Patterson's playing regularly again. So Seamus Coleman, their long-time captain, hasn't really seen much in terms of action, although he could possibly come back into the team. And, it's good to see that they're settling on a more solid formation. So you think, judging by the draw against Nottingham Forest last time around, they're showing some fight, they're showing some steel, and they could definitely stay up. So Lampard should very well be given the confidence to continue in the job, at least until the December window. And then, if he can keep the club safe and maybe take them forward, then that would be well justified. And of course, we have this formation from Brentford, a 4-3-3. You can see how Mbuemo, Tony, and the likes of De Silva and also Ben Mee were able to, come forward and really muscle forward. And of course, Johan Wissa coming back. So it also helped out. Jensen also was a thorn in the side of United. So you can pretty much see that Brentford too have a settled 11, and they can also certainly cause a lot of damage. Although when it comes to playing teams that are more or less at their level, they tend to they could possibly struggle. So that's one of the things about these teams who do well against the big boys, but when it comes to teams that they're expected to do well against, they tend to possibly struggle. Whether it's the weight of expectations, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, talk to Brentford. I just want to kind of cover Brentford. I mean, Brentford, because since they've come to the Premier League, obviously I've faced them a few times. I just think it's a great story. That the great journey they've been on to get where they work. I think it's impressive. The fans are great. I just love what I think they're an entertaining side to watch. I think they, by the way, this game really won against Everton. They had so many opportunities in the match. They just couldn't, unfortunately, where they just couldn't seem to get the ball in the back of the net. Obviously, they should really have won against Everton. Everton were very lucky. I love Brentford, the way they play. Like I say, obviously, Toad, and especially they've kind of when they came through massively, they believed in the players that they had, and gave chances to people that got them there, and they're really flourishing. Like I say, they've got a great man, Frank, as well. I think he's great. I think he's a real. I can't say anything negative about Brentford. I just love them on the TV for sure. They're just one of those teams that they've brought something. They're not get promoted and then they're just there. They held their own and actually entertained in the Premier League,
Yeah, but of course, in the coming years, a few of their players will be targets for big teams. And speaking of targets, the Everton goal was actually scored by Anthony Gordon, who has been subject to an approach from Lampard's old Chelsea team to the tune of 60 million quid. There have been some people who've been criticising that move, saying that Gordon probably wouldn't get some game time there. But again, that all boils down to squad depth, and there are going to be some people who will say that if Gordon decides to go to Chelsea, he might display a lack of ambition. But I'm pretty certain that Tuchel will, if he gets him in, will certainly know how to blood him in quite well. So he could possibly be that person who could, solve the problems. I don't know if you rate him, Chelsea fan, if he's still in the chat, but Anthony Gordon could be, something like I wouldn't say a godsend, but certainly another option that they could have. If you've seen Anthony Gordon play, how do you rate him personally?
Yeah, I think that Anthony Gordon is absolutely got so much potential. Obviously, he's still young, but yeah, he's really made a statement for himself at Everton. And I do like the look of him. He's a great player. He's always been a great chance, as well as get on the goal, on the score sheet now and again as well. Do I think that he should go to Chelsea? I don't know, because it depends if Chelsea have the intention of signing him and actually putting him. If they don't, a lad of that age needs to be playing football. I don't, and if he goes to Chelsea, I just think it'll ruin him slightly, if I'm honest with you. See the Ross Barkley will move to Chelsea, and look what happened. I'm not saying that every player that got, is the same, but are they looking to deploy Gordon down the middle? Is that why they're signing him, utilising him either? So I love Gordon. I think he should stay at Everton, and he will get another move at some point, because he's too, in all due respects, Everton. If in next summer, but I think he should stay there for now. But I may be proven wrong, and he hits the ground running. Then who am I to say it didn't work? But I personally, where they'll utilise him, will he get much game time? But I don't think he'd look out of place in that Chelsea squad. By the way, I think he's that good. But maybe I'm going over the top here, but I just believe in him. I think he's a great player.
Yeah, I get that. I also get your comparison with Ross Barkley, but sometimes there's more to a situation than meets the eye. I'm pretty certain that a coach of Tuchel's caliber would be eager to play Barkley if Barkley sort of had the right attitude. Maybe that's just another indictment of how sometimes when young English players go to clubs to pick up a pay packet, they sort of lose their ambition and they sort of think they've got it made. They can live the life of Riley. So I don't know if that's necessarily an indictment, because Danny Drinkwater's another example. He went from Leicester to Chelsea, and we don't know what happened to him afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. So the other match that was played, we did actually talk about the Arsenal-Fulham game. That was me and the lads before you came. So the remaining game is on Saturday is Brighton against Leeds, and this was a game where, by all accounts, the Sea Eagles dominated, and they've set a club record of 9 consecutive top-flight matches without defeat. That's the last 5 games of the previous season, and obviously these 4 games. Leeds have had their first loss. They've now dropped to 5th. Brighton are now up to 3rd. And, Brighton actually had so many terrific opportunities, but Melia made some decent saves. And you mentioned why Brighton don't need Neil Maupay, because in Pascal Gross, Leandro Trossard, and even Arsenal and Manchester United's old boy Danny Welbeck, they have a pretty potent attack. And it's good to see Welbeck enjoying a new lease of life on life at Brighton. It's wonderful to see him doing as well as he can. And obviously Leeds do look quite compact. They certainly proved against Chelsea that they have enough about them to be able to stay. And it looks as though, taking a look at that, they played a 4-4-2 with Veltman as right back, and obviously Tariq Lamptey coming on and sort of bombing down. And, Webster, Duncan, everyone else, McAllister, Gross and Welbeck as the front two, with Trossard on the left wing, and Sanchez continuing to do well in goal. So Brighton seem to have a really good settled squad. And what do you think personally of their squad? Are there any other players who have impressed you so far?
Yeah, I think that again, it's another thing that I rejoice watching. I think under Graham Potter, the man he's absolutely quality. I really, he's got the credentials to go on and manage it and even to Brighton, but I think that he has got that pedigree that will take him places. He really will. But yeah, I've got quality all over the pitch, haven't they, Brighton? I really do. I think you've mentioned the names, obviously. Gross, great player. Assad, another one. Caicedo, the player that they got in. What a find he was. He's come to the Premier League and he's really hit the ground running. I love watching him in the centre of the park there. Danny Welbeck, I must admit, it's great to see him flourishing in this side as well. I think he's blessing, but he seems to be, in a very, very good in terms of keeping fit, and he's a quality player. He is, and just couldn't keep fit, obviously, prior to But I think Brighton have really, I think he's a great player. I mean, I do. I think he's, and I'm happy for him because I think that when he was going for his injury issues, I was thinking, got the talent, but he just can't seem to keep fit. I think that I like Duncan in the middle, in the centre back. I think he's great. That must be now, and I've forgotten his name, but I think he's great at left back. I think he's a player that gets down that wing very good, but he can also defend very well as well. Obviously, Veltman as well, great. But sorry, Matt, they've got quality all over and great to see them flourishing in that. It's not surprising me, by the way, that they are up near the top. In the top, it really isn't, because Graham Potter is a fantastic manager. They've got. When I look at Brighton, they've got so many attacking options. They've got so much threat across the pitch, and good defensively as well at times. So yeah, I like Brighton. I think they will have a very good season.
Yeah, that's good. And Leeds have also looked pretty good. I think they're unchanged from the win over Chelsea. They played a 4-2, 3-1 with Reveiw up on his own, and obviously Aronson and Harrison and Declan James, I think. Yeah, Daniel James rather, providing some ballast up there. And a decent back 4-2, and Melia continuing to improve in goal. Leeds have definitely surprised me with the way they've looked compact, and of course they're doing so well with a lot of their other players, like Ayling and Cooper out injured, and they've also got to try and come back into the team and fight. Junior Firpo and a few others. But I've actually changed my prediction for Leeds getting relegated in lieu of how good they've looked, and they should end up surviving, with Wolves probably looking like the team that could replace them. But I mean, Leeds have also looked, as I said, Leeds have looked good. Has there been any player that has impressed you, especially given the fact that they've sold Rafinha and Calvin Phillips to bigger clubs? They've rebounded well. Of course, they spent well, but they do have the makings of a very good team. Any player in that team that has caught your eye?
Yeah, me, it has to be Jack Harrison. I think he's absolutely brilliant. Such a great player. He works great, and he's a real threat in that side. So I have to give it to Harrison here. The thing is with Leeds is, I know what you're saying about the start they made, but it's if they can keep this up, because I'm not convinced with the managers that they've got, and if I'm honest with you, yeah, depth. And okay, they're doing well now, and I've got to give it to them. But I like Harrison. I think he's great, as well as Rodrigo up front. If you give him a chance, he will score goals for you. So for those two players, I will start names in this side for sure.
Yeah. But as I've said, they look good. And Hannah, are you back? Excellent.
Yeah,
so we've done a review of the Saturday games. Now we just have the Sunday games left. So back to you. You can take
Yeah.
over now.
Yeah, so I'll just quickly give my thoughts on the Chelsea game. So on the Chelsea game, we did all right. I wouldn't say it's the best performance. Travis living up to his name, of course. Um, Mason Mount again, no showing. Absolutely done nothing. Conor Gallagher, he got a red card. You could see it was an Everton after few challenges he went in on. So yeah, it for me it was it happened. So yeah, um, but again, Mendy, Mendy, if this one message I have, Mendy just when you have the ball, clear it, kick it, put it upfield. I don't care, just put it upfield. Long ball it. Bring 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 on Ronaldo. Bring Ronaldo owns so we can long ball the ball to him. Yeah. Maybe Chris Wood. Let's do Burnley style. Chris Wood up front.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right. So now we've got the Sunday games left, and what do you want to start with?
Sunday games left. So, so of course, Wolves drew with Newcastle. Newcastle, they they were expected to win. They didn't. Wolves scored the opener goal. Newcastle came back, scored just before half time. And yeah, Wolves again getting a point at home. Close to winning. Maybe should have won. Don't know. And watch the game. Do you have thoughts on this game? I know, start with you. Your thoughts on the Wolves Newcastle game?
You mean me, right? Yeah, I didn't see that game, and I'm just watching the BBC report right now. And Wolves started well. They scored first, and obviously Alisson Maximin scoring in the 90th minute was a real downer for them. But I did watch the Villa West Ham and Forest Tottenham game, and I'm sure Ryan will have a lot to say about the Forest game for obvious reasons. But I did say that Wolves could end up possibly going down because sometimes you take a look at the squad they have. They've made some purchases, but they also don't seem to be able to gel quite well enough as of yet. And if they come up against some really good teams, they could struggle. Newcastle do look good, but I think expectations for them are a little bit, inflated at the moment. They need to get some really good results and get them very soon, and then we can talk about them rising. But this was a game against teams which I think cancelled each other out. And the big talking point, obviously, was the dreadful tackle on Ruben Neves by Fabian Schär. Apparently he was only shown a yellow card instead of a red following a VAR check for a studs up challenge on him. And of course, we remember that Kieran Trippier avoided a red card by VAR against Manchester City himself. But, that's another thing about VAR. VAR this season, for the most part, has actually been spot on with regard to spotting a few technicalities that have made the difference between yellow and red cards. And also they've, made sure that offsides have been done really well. Maybe we can talk about VAR, but I think Wolves need a little bit of luck. They need a good result, and they need it soon. This was a game in which they needed a result against a Newcastle team that isn't quite the finished article yet. And obviously, I think Connor Cody's loss is a problem for Wolves because they miss his experience. So, Ryan, maybe you can join in and give us your.
Yeah, I mean, it was a strange one. Wolves let Cody go as easy as they did because, like you say, he was season, and without him, you soon realise what they're missing. I think that they've got good quality going forward. Wolves, they really have. The likes of Jimenez, So obviously that Guedes they just signed. I like the look of him. I think he looks very, very good, obviously in midfield. But yeah, and just seeing something, and they're really struggling. I agree, Manny, that you said about also the expectation at Newcastle, just because you've got to bring it down a bit because you can't go to the top straight away. It does take time, so there needs to be a bit of. I do like Newcastle. I think that Newcastle are a great side. They have got a lot. I actually watched this game, obviously, today. I should, the fact is when you go 1-0 up, you do need to be trying to get a second to obviously be able to do that. And then obviously it was such a getting that goal so late on. But that pretty much sums up their season. They're really struggling. They may need to look towards the transfer market to get a few more players in, but I don't know how possible. It was. I think it was. I think Wolves should really have won the game from the position they were in, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
Yeah, Hannah, I want to ask you, what do you think of VAR this season? Both of you, what do you think of VAR this season? Hannah?
So for me, they have been all right so far. But to look Newcastle, Kieran Trippier should have been a red, but then VAR overturned it, gave it to yellow. This game should have been a red, gave it to yellow. So Newcastle, they're paying VAR up, they're paying VAR. So yeah, that's just one thing I've noticed from VAR. Maybe two mistakes they've done there, but they've been all good. They've been all right. Ryan?
VAR is always a topical discussion, isn't it? Because it's meant to be. Now, what I don't get about it is what what is deemed clear and obvious. What is deemed as clear and obvious, because like I said, it has its downside to it, because too long for the decision to be made. If you look at other kind of sports with the VAR system in play, there's a lot more clarity. We know what's happening. The decisions are made quite. Be a lot of not there's not enough consistency with it, in my opinion. You're thinking to yourself, VAR really help there, fantastic, but then they've got it wrong. So I think it's great and it does help the referee, but it's just not good enough at this point, and it just needs to be. I don't know. It's just difficult. I just don't like it. It should be helping. It should be helping. The game, not really helping at times, but hoping so they do get it better. But yeah, and it would work if it was used effectively, but it doesn't seem to be able to be used effectively in the football. But I'm waffling on. I am a bit dubious about this VAR system. It's not as it should be.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so my opinion is that so far, with regard to offsides and handballs and so forth, it's actually been really good, because sometimes those marginal line calls need the VAR and they need to be taken care of. My only issue is that when it comes to a deliberate handball, there has to be a clear definition as to what constitutes a deliberate handball, and that has to be consistently applied. If you can do that, then that's perfectly fine. And of course, obviously, the tackles, again, football is a physical game. You're going to have some harsh tackles. The only issue is that if whether you can actually determine whether there was some intent to injure someone, and of course, with the studs being up, there might be some circumstantial issues there, some mitigating circumstances. But I'm happy with VAR so far, and I don't see any major controversies. But we're going to see how that plays out the remainder of the season. Okay, back to you, Hannah.
True. And now the next game was, of course, West Ham versus Villa. West Ham got their first 3 points on the board. Manny, is that your dog or is it Ryan's?
It's
Whose
the
dog is
neighbour's dog, and I do apologise. I'm going to try and alter the audio settings to see if you. It's still not really working with regard to whatever. So yeah, I mean, thankfully it stopped now. It stopped.
Yeah.
I saw that entire game, and regardless of the fact that Aston Villa didn't have that much in terms of luck, it's also clear that they're dependent quite heavily on Felipe Coutinho and a few other players being able to make things happen. Because offensively, they looked good in the first half. They should have had a few goals, puffed and puffed, but couldn't blow West Ham down. And in the second half, it just had to be an unlucky deflection which would sink Aston Villa and give West Ham their first goal and their first win. So people can talk about how Aston Villa have been given the short end of the stick, but this is a ruthless business. And they've got the small matter of playing my Arsenal team on Wednesday and Manchester City after that. So Steven Gerrard is going to be under a lot of pressure, believe you me, and he needs to tell his team to buckle up, get their act together, stat. Not just ASAP, but stat. And as for West Ham, well, this win will help them, but I think there was a reason why I predicted that they would struggle to repeat the highs of the previous season. Even with the signings of Skamaka and a few others, I don't know if they're truly gelling as such. So it'll be interesting to see if West Ham can recover. They'll probably finish in the lower part of the top half of the table, but so they'll miss out on Europe. But as long as they can recover, I suppose it's good. But Aston Villa do have problems, and they need to solve them immediately.
Yeah, definitely. Ryan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Aston Villa, they do seem to be struggling, don't they? But I don't really understand why, because they have got obviously I like Watkins. I think he's a great player. Danny Ings goes wherever he goes. He's clinical. Coutinho as well, very, very, very good player. We know. Yeah, I mean, obviously West Ham have had a slow start to the season, although to kickstart them, and obviously this result will help them massively with the win against Aston Villa. Steven Gerrard is going to be coming under increasing pressure if results don't for Aston Villa for sure. But yeah, I think that West Ham will struggle to repeat, achievements, but you never know. If few games pass and they're in a very good picture form, all of a sudden, I think. But I think that West Ham still are kind of short on numbers. They don't really address that for me. I know they've obviously signed a few, but I still think their squad was still smart. So I think they could really have done sign a few more. But yeah, good. But yeah, I agree. Obviously, with Manny, obviously Aston Villa really do need to get very, very quickly.
Yeah, definitely. You need to sort out their business. Now, for me, with them, they scored a goal. I thought Villa could sneak it through. I thought they were at least that decent, but looks like they aren't. So, yeah, but Villa, they need to sharpen up unless they maybe in the relegation, maybe. So, yeah. Of course. Now the next game was of course Tottenham 2, Forest no. I said Forest 1-0. Unfortunately, Kane just scored an early goal and that Forest couldn't come up the mustard or mountain, whatever you call it. They just couldn't do it. They had loads of chances in that first half, just couldn't finish their dinner. And there's loads of speculation that the manager maybe made it wrong, of course. That the striker that scored the winner last week was, of course, on the bench. So loads of questions around that change. Should he maybe have started him or they maybe have scored him? we don't know. Maybe not. Maybe. But Spurs, they got the 3 points, and yeah, fair play to Spurs. Is you guys' thoughts?
Yeah, first of all, I'm going to say that given that Nottingham Forest beat Huddersfield and even took a couple of players from their team to add to their squad, the fact that they lost would have made you very happy, right, Ryan?
I think also was Forest. I think that if they got promoted, what wasn't great from our perspective. But I'm not their biggest. I still think that them being in the Premier League, it's still a great story. So I've got not being bitter about it anymore. I think I've moved past that stage. But to see them lose still, but yeah.
Top. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I mean, it's really good in that way. So to answer your question, Hanno, obviously they started with Jesse Lingard up front and Brennan Johnson and Morgan Gibbs-White from Wolves as the two behind him. And of course they have their 3-4-2-1 with Neco Williams and Toffolo, what's his full name? Harry Toffolo, as the wing backs who could go forward and come back. I thought Neco Williams has been inspired by. He had an outstanding game. I think it might be time for Steve Cooper to drop Jesse Lingard and actually bring Taiwo Awoniyi into the starting lineup again. Because, I like the look of Brennan Johnson. He certainly looked very quick and incisive today, and Gibbs-White also helped. But I think with Lingard, he's been so eager to have a point to try and prove a point ever since moving from Manchester United. He'd get into positions, but he just wouldn't be able to take advantage of that. Maybe his first touch would let him down. I don't know. I think it's fair to say that maybe Awoniyi should have been brought on a lot earlier. I would have definitely liked to have seen him brought on earlier in the second half at the very least, because especially if Lingard was tiring, he would have been the perfect replacement for him. Instead, he brought on Emmanuel Dennis, their new acquisition from Watford. So, look, Steve Cooper definitely has some talent as a manager, and I definitely don't see his job being threatened. In fact, he was the guy who won the Under-17 World Cup with England when they came to India and played. So he will know quite a few Premiership players, and maybe one or two of them will have been coached by him. With a few more, if there are a few more good results, they will stay in, and maybe if he continues in the job for a few more years and does well with Forest and keeps them in the league, I would consider him for the England job, or maybe even the Wales job if Robert Page decides to call it a day. But Forest looked good. They were creating chances, but it was another masterclass from Conte in being able to sit back, absorb that pressure, if you will, and then just hit them on the counter. And the fact is that for all of the chances that Forest had, they never really forced Hugo Lloris into making too many saves, except for maybe I think once in the first half there was a save from, I think it was Johnson. I don't quite remember. It might have been Johnson or O'Brien. I don't remember. But Dean Henderson had more than a few saves. He saved a penalty, of course. And if it weren't for the on-loan Manchester United keeper, the scoreline could have been even bigger. So it was just a masterclass from Tottenham. I don't necessarily think it will harm Forest season that much, because they know they have enough about them to get some more results. It's of course good to see Jed Spence coming on for an emotional return to the City ground, and a little bit of applause from the City Forest fans. But this is just another example of how Spurs look extremely good, how they've got a plan A and a plan B. Their players are performing they know their roles and they're performing them quite well. And there's a lot of competition for places. A few people might be upset at not getting any minutes, but they will get some minutes soon. And it's just another reminder that Arsenal may be top, but Tottenham are snapping at our heels, and we cannot take anything for granted. Simple as that.
True. Ryan, your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I think that as much as only had one shot on target, and they did have 17, but they didn't test the keeper enough, did they really? I think that with Forest, I think they have signed a lot of players, but the problem is that when you start to take a bit of time to actually get them all playing well together, because they've obviously come in. In Tottenham's regard, I think that obviously just clinical, wasn't it? You know, Harry Kane does what Harry Kane does, and obviously that's just he scores. I think that, you know, obviously Perisic as well. I'm going to mention him. He's coming, by the way. Obviously 33 years of age, on a free. I think he's great to see him in the Premier League, because obviously I do watch football abroad as well, obviously, when you watch it at his other respective clubs. And yeah, I really liked him. So great. I think that Conte is a very, very good manager. He's well drilled, and he's made a massive difference to this Tottenham, obviously, side, because he's added, you know, he had, and you know, it's really effective. I think that is to obviously, hopefully, win a trophy this season. Now, what trophy that is, I don't know. We'll probably be looking to try and get a trophy this season for sure. I also forgot to mention about Forest. I mean, Manny, you said about Lingard coming out. Lingard was operating down the middle this afternoon. Striker, I see him out a player, a part of the attacking three, but out wide. Why is he being used as a striker when I don't believe that's his best position anyway? So arguably, he should be playing. And I think it was a strange one that he didn't put, you know, an actual, because I don't see Lingard as a striker. Like I say, I think he's best operated out on the. So I don't necessarily agree that he should come out the side, but I don't think he should be playing in the position he is, because you need to play players to the best positions. Obviously, yeah, a routine win for Spurs. They deserved it. You know, they show it. You know, obviously they've, you know, got 10 points from 12 possible points. So they've really so far. But yeah, I think that's all I'm going to say about this. Tottenham, I think, will have a very good season. I think they potentially win something as well this season, whether that's, you know, the Carabao Cup or the feeling with Conte in charge as well. They have the quality that, you know, come off another player that comes off the bench and makes a difference. You know, real quick, that delivery goal was an absolute beauty. It really was. And yeah, say about the result, really.
I get that. Thanks a lot, mate. So, Hannah, you said you wanted to just do some quick predictions, yes?
Yeah, quick. Because today need to go through the predictions and Money has shared the screen here. So yeah, that first game. Okay, Money, you can read them out. And so what do you have as the first game on that screen of yours?
Let me see if I can increase the font size for you.
Yeah,
This is good.
okay. Okay, so Palace versus Brentford is the first game. And it's 8 p.m. kickoff for those in the UK. Oh, not 8 p.m. 7:30 p.m. kickoff. That's in the UK. So I think. Wait, I make my predictions here. So for me, it's under the lights. It's at Selhurst Park. Of course, Brentford struggling a bit in form, but they still have some quality, of course. They drew versus Everton this weekend. They narrowly lost to Fulham. They smashed up United and then drew with Leicester. So on the road, they have drawn a game and lost the game. So 50-50 they so haven't won a game. Palace, of course, lost to Manchester City of being 2-0 up. Shocking for them. But at home, they have won and have lost the game, lost to Arsenal and beat Villa. So also 50-50 there. I reckon Palace will do it 1-0 just because why not? I just think Palace will do it. Maybe it will be 2-1 or maybe a 1-1. I think the most likely result is a 1-1, personally for me. But yeah, Money, your prediction?
For me, it's going to be a 2-1 for Brentford. I think Brentford are probably being found out a bit, and I think Vieira is going to be a smart enough manager to, try and exploit a few gaps in the Brentford team. He'll have them well drilled. No clean sheet for Vicente Guaita, but that shouldn't matter as long as Palace can score some goals. They've got Zaha and Eze, and they've got their quality. Brentford, of course, will be a bit of a threat, but I fancy the Palace defence to sort of nullify them in a way that the likes of Manchester United couldn't. So, 2-1 to Palace.
2-1 to Palace. Ryan, of course, your thoughts?
It's going to be an interesting game for sure. Obviously, Palace it's always a difficult place to see. They've got a great atmosphere within the stadium. But I really like them. I think that they're a great side to watch. And I think Brentford, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 Brentford. I think they'll just edge it. I think Palace. I think with the attacking outlet that Brentford have, too much really for Crystal Palace. So that's just my view.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, that game can go either way. That's a tough game. Is there not a Thursday match too? Most? Let me check. Yeah, Manchester United play on Thursday.
Yeah, they're playing Leicester.
They play Leicester on Thursday. It's a bit dumb. Why can't they play just play on the Wednesday or on the
Tuesday.
Tuesday? Yeah.
What can you do, son? I mean, it's the schedule. You can't really do too much about it.
Yeah. But next game is Fulham. It's Brighton under the lights at Craven Cottage. Of course, Ryan would know what tough place that is to go. His team had to go there last season under the lights.
We actually won
let's
though.
say-
We actually won Fulham. We actually won Fulham, and it was a daytime game, I believe, wasn't it? But anyway,
Yeah.
It's a difficult place to go. It is.
Yeah, it is a difficult place to go. I reckon Fulham will sneak it. I reckon Brighton will pick up their first loss of the season just because it's under the lights and it's a tough game. I reckon they will do it 2-1. 2-1. So, yeah. Money, your thoughts?
2-0 to the Seagulls. I just think they're riding a good crest of a wave. They've got a fine manager, a settled team, and they're just on a roll right now. And I don't see Fulham being able to score because we've seen that if Mitrovic can be deprived of supply, then they will struggle to score. He only scored against us because of a defensive mistake, mind you. So it should be an easy 2-0 win for Brighton, a clean sheet for Robert Sanchez, and I would expect Gross, Trossard, and Welbeck to be among the goals, or at least among the attacks. So, 2-0. They've got this.
Yeah. Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm edging towards Fulham more because I just think Cottage. I have been impressed by Fulham, by the way, this season so far. I think they've actually because they've kind of been a yo-yo kind of team, stay up in the Premier League, but I feel like there's something different this season. Anyway, going back to it, I think that Brighton have started really well, so it's a difficult. I just think Fulham will just sneak this one, and I think I'm going to go with a 2-1. Mitrovic is going to get 2 because he's just a goal machine.
Yeah. Yeah, now next game is, of course, the greatest team in London. It's Chelsea versus Southampton. Chelsea, of course, coming off a win versus Leicester City. Southampton coming off a loss against Manchester United 1-0 at home. Again at home, will they do it? I don't think so. I think Chelsea will sneak it to 1-1. I don't think it will be 2-0 like Chelsea fancies. Yeah, I don't think so, mate. Yeah, you have more confidence than me. So yeah, into that game, let me most I'll bring up that other comment you have on chat when we speak about Arsenal. Mo says Fulham won, Paris Brentford draw, fair enough. Chelsea won. Yeah, Chelsea won. Hopefully. So yeah. Now the next game. Oh, sorry, Manny and Ryan, you guys.
2-1 for Chelsea, just like you. No comments. I think Chelsea will be too strong. Southampton won't be able to match them. 2-1 to Chelsea.
Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. But I've gone for a more scoreline. I think that Chelsea will win convincingly here. Well, I just think we'll struggle against them. So I'm going 3-0 Chelsea.
3-0. I hope. Please. Let that be 3-0. Hopefully. Hopefully. Yeah, Southampton are but Lisa.
Yeah, for 3-0, you're going to need Kai Havertz to score, mate. Don't forget that.
Yeah, we need that.
I think Sterling will score a hat-trick on Tuesday night. I said it here first.
All right.
Yeah, but Southampton are bad, but Leicester are also bad, and we scraped to one. So, yeah. Now, next game is, of course, Leeds versus Everton. Ryan, I will start with you.
Yeah, I think Leeds will win this one. I really do, because I just really struggling that there. And I just think that from, like I say, Ellen Road, they're always it's always a difficult place to go. Ellen Road again. I'm gonna go for a 2-0 Leeds win.
Yeah, and we agree on that. 2-0 lead. I've gone for also. Manny, your prediction?
2-1 for me. I think they will have some spirit. They will be defensively strong, but Leeds will find a way through. But they could score a goal. I mean, they're starting to score now. And maybe with, I don't know if Mope will be registered in time, but I think in Gordon and Gray, they should either of them should score. 2-1 for me.
So fan agrees with you. He also says 2-1. Fair enough. Our next game is, of course, who's that ugly team in North London, Arsenal. Also, maybe you're right, Hannah. Also might be able to start pushing Charlotte out of another victory. Yeah, I think you will. I think you will win. I'm going for a 2-0 to Arsenal. I reckon you guys will win 2-0. So yeah, easy 2-0. Nothing to say about it. Manny, your thoughts?
3-1. Again, we'll score. Villa will score, but we'll score more. 3-1.
No. 3-1.
Yeah.
Ryan?
Yeah, Arsenal definitely are winning this one, and a convincing one. I'm going to go 3-0 to Ankara at the Emirates. They are terrible at the moment, and I think that Arsenal will just score them. And yeah, that's why I think they'll continue their unbeaten record for now.
All right. Is Hannah there? I think he might have gone.
No, he's still in the thing, but
yeah, cool.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So next game is Bournemouth versus Wolves. Straightforward Wolves win for me. 2-1. Money.
2-0. Bournemouth are toothless. I don't see them scoring unless Kiefer Moore has the game of his life. And Wolves will want to have a response after that draw against Newcastle. This is the best time for them to pick up their first win of the season. Bournemouth are demoralised.
Yeah, I don't as well though. So you could argue that Bournemouth could nick this. And I have just gone for a Bournemouth win. It will be. They won't score many, but I think they'll win 1-0. Bournemouth win 1-0.
Okay, next game, Manchester City versus Forest. Money,
3-0.
Ryan,
Yeah, I have to agree. It's going to be a convincing win for City. I'm going 4-0.
4-0. I've gone 3-0. I think I will change it to 5-0. 5-0, maybe. 3, 4, and 5-0. So yeah. Next game is West Ham versus Tottenham. I've gone for 2-1 to Tottenham. I think they will do it easy. Nothing else said. Money,
2-0 for Spurs.
Ryan.
Yeah, and I have to agree with you, Manny. I'm going 2-0.
Fair enough, fair enough. Chelsea fan says 4-0. Fair? That's okay.
Yeah.
So now, probably the game of the week, Liverpool versus Newcastle United. Now, this is going to be an interesting game, of course. Liverpool coming off their first win of the season, 9-0 versus Bournemouth. Of struggled a bit versus, and they still have midfield problems. Will Newcastle be able to exploit that? Maybe. I reckon they will. I reckon there will be a big upset. I reckon it will be 2-1 to Newcastle. Looks like Ryan agrees with me. Ryan?
I definitely agree with you. Actually, I've got Newcastle to win this as well because, like I said earlier, I've not been convinced with Liverpool so far this season. I know they've beat Bournemouth 9-0. They're gonna, you can't really judge them against a team. Maybe that. So yeah, I'm going 2-1 to Newcastle as well. I really do.
Money?
I'm going to disagree with the both of you. I mean, Newcastle, of course, had that spirited draw against Manchester City, but I think the quality of City sort of showed it shone through and deprived them of 3 points there. And the Wolves game was a game that they were rather fortunate to possibly get a draw from. So for all of their talent, they still have to have a settled team as well. And it's very easy to say that you can't judge a Liverpool team based on a 9-0 win against a toothless Bournemouth. But look, that is the start of knowing what goes right and sticking with that. And if Ten Hag's two results are anything to go by, that is pretty much the way to go. So I cannot look beyond the Liverpool win. I think this is going to be the start of the front three really gelling. I don't know if Nunes will be coming back. He was sent off against Crystal Palace, wasn't he? So he'll be banned for this game as well, so he won't be coming back. But even then, they have enough firepower in them to really take advantage of it. And look, they're playing at Anfield. They're not going to lose to Newcastle United. I'm going for a 3-1 win for Liverpool. And Salah to get on the score sheet.
Fair enough. Just fan says also this 3-1. And he says also 3-1 to Tottenham. Fair enough.
No, I said 2-0 to Tottenham, 3-1 to Liverpool.
Yeah, Chelsea fan says 3-1 Tottenham, 3-1 to Liverpool. Yeah. Now next game is the last game of the midweek games. It's what's its face? It's Leicester City versus Manchester United. Now Manchester United coming off 2 straight wins versus Leicester City coming off loss? Is it 2 straight losses? Yeah, 2 straight losses. So both teams on different parts of the scale. Oh, so who knows what when you look United in form? Yeah. What? I'll start off with Money. What do you reckon? How will this game go?
2-1 to Manchester United. I think United are now starting to get the bit between their teeth. They got Casemiro coming in. They will have too much for a Leicester team, which is frankly in turmoil. And this defeat will possibly hasten the end of Brendan Rodgers' time at the club, which is a shame because he's a fine manager, but things probably just aren't going well for him, and maybe the club might need a change. They're bottom of the league now, lacking in confidence. They're ripe for the picking, and Ten Hag will make sure that they get the 3 points. 2-1.
Fair enough. Ryan, your prediction?
Yeah, I'm definitely going for Man United to win. I'm going for 2-0 here. I think they're struggling with 1 point on the board. I can't see that changing against Man United, who performed. So, yeah, Man United to win comfortably for me.
Yeah, I have gone for 2-1 United. I reckon they will just do it easy. Okay, man removed it. So yeah. I reckon it will be as easy as that. 2-1 United. So yeah, just to review my scores on the scores I picked correctly this weekend. I got the also game. I got 3 points, correct score, and the chess game both was 2-1. So yeah, I am now in the league. I am on. I was top 5. Now I've dropped to 10th because I predicted Forest to win. So yeah, peak. It's big times. It's big times. Ryan, you're so happy with me. You're so happy with me.
You predicted Forest to beat Tottenham. Seriously, wow.
Yeah. I
Anyway.
think it was more hope than anything. It was more hope than anything. But yeah. Ryan, where can the people find you?
My channel, Huddersfield Town Fan TV on YouTube. We are on the road to 200, so I'm at 138 at the moment. So I appreciate if you go and follow me on there. My social, you can follow me on my Instagram, HDFTV8. Go and follow me on there. But yeah, thank you for having me on this evening. It's been great.
Yeah, definitely. Manny, where can the people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at MannyThangaro1981. That's my full name and my year of birth. You can also find me on Twitter at Thangaro1981, which is my surname and my year of birth. No YouTube channel as of yet, but that could possibly change in the next few weeks. You will be informed as to what I might be doing. But until then, I'm just happy to come on Hannah's Coach Corner for a watch along and a discussion, and to chat with a few people, say what I want to say, and let the chips fall where they may, and just go wherever I feel welcome. And thank you once again, Hannah, for welcoming me, and thank you, Ryan, for coming on. It was wonderful to speak to you, mate.
Yeah, thank you, mate. You too.
So you guys, yeah, I need to say big up everyone for watching, big up everyone for viewing. Yeah, see you next time, people, and hopefully Chelsea could win, can win. Hopefully they do. And tomorrow's championship predictions. If you don't know the reason why I did this now, is because I can't do tomorrow to stream. So Prem and championship. So yeah, and peace out to everybody. See you all very, very soon.